Harvey and Van here. So the Aaron Hernandez show on Oxygen was sad, gripping,
Yeah.
and a revelation. The headline clearly is that Aaron Hernandez was gay and was hiding this for a long, long time, many years, and
The
he
show
exploded.
Yeah, the show painted a picture of a guy who had such turmoil in his personal life dealing with his homosexuality that at one point it just exploded into this sort of murderous rage, and that's kind of what we all saw at the end of his life.
Well, he didn't really he didn't deal with it. I mean,
He never dealt with this.
He never
Exactly.
dealt. He never dealt with it. I mean, this is a guy who was carrying this secret in a profession that is, it's really interesting because I was thinking about this over the weekend, that, he was in a super macho profession.
And not just super macho profession, his upbringing and the sort of environment that he grew up in was also incredibly macho with the gang violence and the things that were going on.
That's right. And when you look at, a lot of people who don't come out, it's really interesting to me because a lot of them are in these professions where, it could be UFC, it could be boxing, it could be anything where, it's almost like they go in there with almost as therapy for some reason. It's a weird dynamic that, this is a little bit different, but, Bruce Jenner was an Olympian.
Sure.
And he talks about, being driven that way because he was hiding a secret, and he's not alone. And it reminded me of Aaron Hernandez.
It's the first time, though, and it was interesting for me because I've heard about situations like this before. It was the first time that it and maybe you could speak to this, it manifested itself into violence, into someone that wasn't, I guess, satisfied taking stuff out on the field, but that it actually exploded and
it bled into his whole life,
his entire life.
And it is it is such a heavy burden carrying this when you're living a lie this way, and you don't really portray yourself as who you really are, and you actually go to great lengths to show that you're somebody different when you're not different. Here he had a fiance and
a child,
and a child, and he's carrying this secret with them and with and with the players. It became too much for him to bear. This is not, by the way, any excuse for murder or anything like that, but it does explain a little bit about why this rage, because it's really funny. I don't know if we talked about this, but Aaron Hernandez had an apartment or a house in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, for sure.
And he used to go to bars down there, and he was a terror. And he was, he would fly off the handle. And, I always wondered, what is with this guy? Because here, he had this great career. And now
fantastic NFL career. He had a massive contract. A lot of people were shocked when this stuff happened because Aaron Hernandez seemed to be living his NFL dream.
But he was living something other than his real life, and it builds and builds and builds in you, and ultimately it exploded for him. This is kind of the core of a person, who they are, and when you have to live this kind of lie, it is so difficult, and it's one of the reasons why things have got to continue changing in this country, where people can feel free to show who they really are.
And specifically,
it creates such damage when they can't.
And specifically in the world of sports. It's high time for the world of sports and other situations like this to embrace and make safe spaces for people to really live their truth, because you never know the sort of torture in the prisons that people are in.